Greetings once again, folks. Just a few moments ago, I actually was just sort of doodling around in my sketchbook and sort of came up with an idea that I didn't want to do any real research on. And the idea that sort of popped out was, oh, well, wouldn't it be kind of neat to have a teddy bear that was a samurai? So that's kind of where I'm at the moment, and we'll see what kind of comes out of it. So yeah. Now, I don't always do it this way. I do like to plan out things every so often, but not always for my sketchbook. That's what the sketchbook for me is kind of about. To kind of come up with ideas. Now, I'm sure that some version of this already exists. I can't see why it wouldn't. And that's the neat thing. I'm not going to research it right away. That way, while I'm doing it, it's an original idea to me. I know that sounds ridiculous, right? But sometimes when you take a moment or two to look something up, you're like, oh, well, that inspires you. And there's nothing wrong with inspiration. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit. See if I can. I think inspiration is awesome. But for this, I somehow kind of stumbled into it more so than anything else. Is it possible that I would have seen something like this before? Well, that's possible, I suppose. Actually, let's make room already in this helmet for fuzzy teddy bear ears. So for those of you who've sort of spent a moment or two with kind of how I like to doodle, you might have already seen that I have a sort of a process sometimes when I'm just kind of goofing off. Let's make these a little more antler-like just because. Just a little bit. So again, I hope your New Year's is going to be awesome, that 2026 will be fantastic, that you will do all the artsy things that you kind of want to do. Now, because I've chosen to have the face show rather than behind a mask, I have to think of how I want other types of ornamentation to show for this bear, if you know what I mean. Now, I do believe I will have the helmet extend just a little bit here. And it would need to be tied below the chin in a wondrous knot. A few scales of neck protection as well. There are things that are remarkable about the past when you get a chance to spend some time with it. And you see the way armor has changed or evolved, I suppose, over the years. There are certain things that really haven't changed that much. You want mobility, you want to be able to protect the vital organs. So that really hasn't really changed that much. And this is just a teddy bear. And it's mainly ornamentation anyway. That doesn't mean we're not going to try to make it fun, though. Now here's going to be the fun part. make sure the Havan is visible. That's interesting, don't you think? Okay. That puts us in a different sort of neighborhood of fun, I think, to do it this way. Now, let's try to bring it out just a little bit. That way we can add a bit more detail here. Well, that seems interesting. Okay. think that's where I'm kind of going with this idea. Right. All right, well, I think I've sort of explored this idea enough so that the next time I sit down to do this, I'm going to dedicate more time to this. Because I kind of like the idea of this one. Of course, I could probably spend more time on this one. But I think the idea is there. That's interesting. Teddy bear feet. Yeah, I don't mind that at all now. So if you saw any part of that last video that I did just moments before starting this one, you can see where I may have stumbled into this idea. And the next one I will do with a bit more seriousness and a little bit more focus, I think, now that I have an idea that I kind of like and would like to flesh out a little bit. And I'll let you know if I do any research on this. I don't really want to, just to see how far I can take something out of my own head, because if I do the research, I will no doubt find that somebody else has done this in a way that I would kind of like to see done anyway, so it might be more fun to just not look it up until after I'm satisfied with whatever sort of silly things that I've already done. So I'll do just a moment or two longer on this. We'll wrap this in snake skin and bind it with horsehair from it will hang a gift from whomever. I'm not saying that this teddy bear is the shogun, but we will say that this is a friend of the people as well. Or at least of bedtime. Now maybe, just maybe, I've fleshed this out enough that I can leave it alone for a little while too, and maybe sometime come back to it, which is fine to do that as well. No one says I have to do anything more than what I'm doing right now. It is interesting though. Sometimes that's one of the toughest things, is to just put down the pen and be done with something and know that you will do better another time. But for fun, let's explore a few other things with this. Such as maybe a scar here. That's kind of neat. A sword slash here, here. That kind of stuff. Maybe a dent in the helmet up here. Wouldn't that be funny? So some things that are kind of interesting to think about is what all may have occurred around the same time as each other. You know, what period of time? I find that stuff interesting. The Arthurian knights, the King Arthur sort of knights of that time. There would have been samurai at that time, of course. And it would have been interesting to see them meet and compare their armor. Maybe that can be a secondary picture. Something from roughly the same time period, but different kind of armor. Yeah, that could be fun. Another armored teddy bear. Okay, no, I think this is kind of cool. to get to this point. All right, well, folks, I think that's good for now. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and feel free to come back and hang out with me another time and see what other neat things we can just sort of come up with. But yeah, no, Samurai teddy bear, I think that turned out okay. Huh. All right, folks. Ta-ta for now.